term church is a Vatican term. It comes from the name of the Greek goddess Cersei, the mother goddess that absorbs all earthly energy. And so the term Cersei is a Vatican term meaning church. So Christ did not say, upon this rock,
I will build a church.
I will build my church, or the mother goddess Cersei. He said, upon this rock, I will build my body, and the gates on the mines of hell shall not prevail against it. The world has been cursing themselves with this term church, which is named after the first goddess in Greek mythology, Mother Cersei, which also is a transliteration into the Latin and French term Kirke, K-I-R-K apostrophe E, which means mother goddess that absorbs energy.
So there is so much to correct here. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you why I'm correcting this in favor of Christianity. And you'll understand why at the end. So the first thing that I want to correct is that, yes, he is saying that the word Cersei is where the English word church is derived from. And he's right. Cersei is where it derives from. Now and then it does come from the word Kirike. But there's some problems in his translation and his understanding. The Germanic word Kirike does have the surname meaning of the Greek translation as a loan word to Cersei, as a proper name related to the Greek goddess Cersei, as a proper name, as a surname. But it is also, it's a loan word from the Scandinavian into the English language. But it is most likely that Kirike is derived from Kirjak, which is the word, a Scandinavian Old English Norse word that means an assembly, a social gathering, a coming together for spiritual meetings of things of that nature. Now, this word is believed to have come from the Greek word as the loan word of Kyrikon and Kyrikos in ancient Greece, and Kyros and even further ancient Greece, which each one of those have the meaning of belonging to the Lord, or of the Lord, or ruler Lord. So there is a line of loan words that could be imposed upon this of why the Old Norse Scandinavian had Kirjak, and then Kirike becomes the word, and then in English it becomes Cersei. But you have to understand one thing that's very important. The English language has nothing to do with Greek. The English language has nothing to do with Latin. He said the Latin, Germanic, but Latin, although they all derive from Indo-European languages, they did not derive from the same language, but branched off into separate, but they were not of the same language, but they are different branches of an Indo-European language family tree, but they are not connected with one another. So you have the Greek, the Latin, and then you have the Germanic languages. In your Latin, you get your French, your Spanish, your Italian, the languages that they call the Romantic languages. But then in your Germanic, you get your Norse, your English, your Scandinavian languages, German. You get those languages. And then with the Greeks, you just got the Greeks. It's unknown if the Greek language comes from a Greco-Armenian language or a Indo-Iranian language. Those things are unknown. There's not a lot of information telling it. Greeks seem to just have popped out of nowhere in or around about the 3rd millennium BCE. But he's going on talking about how this word is given to the Greek goddess Cersei, but that doesn't work. And first, let me correct who he thinks Cersei is. And no, I'm not talking about Cersei from Marvel. Now, although Cersei was a very powerful Greek goddess, she was kind of not a full goddess. Cersei was the daughter of Helios and a oceanic nymph named Perse. She was an enchantress, but she was mostly known for Homer's Odyssey, where she lured some of the sailors into drinking her little concoction, and they turned into pigs. But beyond that, she was well respected in Greek mythology, but she is not considered the mother goddess of Greek mythology, and she absorbs your energy. The top dog mothers of Greek mythology is Rhea, who is the mother of the gods of the Olympic of Mount Olympus. Then there's Gaia, who is the personification of Earth, and she is therefore Mother Earth. And then there's Demeter, who is the goddess of fertility, and then Leto, who she is the type god. She's a Titan goddess of motherhood. So Cersei is not this all-powerful god that he tries to make her out to be. So back to the language thing. So if you were to, so in looking at the language, you can see that this Germanic language has absolutely nothing to do with the Greek goddess Cersei, but has more to do with the fact that the English translated it from Kiriki, which was a loan word, could have been a loan word from the Greek of kurikon, but that doesn't necessarily fit. But if he was truly scholastic, he would have just went straight to what the word actually was in Greek, because even those definitions for the Greek word doesn't fit. So in the Koine Greek, in the Septuagint, the word that is used in order to say to be redefined as church, which also could mean assembly or gathering, is ecclesia. Ecclesia, not curicon, but ecclesia. This is why in Spanish is iglesia is church, because it's coming from the Greek to the Latin, and then you get in Spanish and it's iglesia. But it's ecclesia. It has nothing to do with these words in Greek, which is the kurikon or kurikos, but these were popular in around the 6th century. So because these were popular in the 6th century CE, and then as the Roman Empire started moving into Scandinavia and imprinting their culture, then the Scandinavian and Norse cultures start using it as a borrowed word for Kirka, and then Kirkaja, and then Kirkaja was Kirky, and Kiriki. I don't know how to say these words right. And then that just went over into England, because England, through the 7th and 8th century, was dealing with raids from the Norse and the Vikings, and then there was settlements, and then there's over 20% of the English language that has Old Norse origins in it. 20%. So when they get to Cersei, then Cersei is not necessarily meaning the Greek goddess. It's talking about the social and spiritual gathering spot from the Old Norse religion, which translate, i.e., into church, which has nothing to do with ecclesia. So why would I, as a deconstructionist, want to correct this gentleman? Well, the reason why is this. The first thing is that all I care about is truth. It doesn't matter where the truth lands, as long as it's truthful. So in the truth, this has nothing to do with Greek goddess. This has all to do with the translation from a language that has nothing to do with another language. And then what the correct translation would be, and how over time and space, the language has merged in order to create this English language. That's the first thing. The second thing is the fact that what many people don't realize is that this is how you get caught up into believing something that you should not be believing. This is how church functions. This is how religion functions. They take something and they take a little bit of information. The fact that Cersei can mean in a proper noun a Greek goddess, and then they escalate her power, escalate who she is, and now got you believing that if you utilize the term church, then you're giving over yourself to a Greek goddess who's a succubus of energy, when that's never been her talent. This is how they create cults. And this is how Christianity has been created, and every other religion has been created. It is a divergent from the old religion to what they have now created as the new religion. That is nothing more than the explanation of Christianity from Judaism. And that's why I corrected it. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.